my name is Ira Sutherland. I'm from Vancouver, BC. I actually just moved out to Montreal this past August to start a master's degree at McGill University. Before moving out to Montreal, I actually spent a full year traveling by bicycle across North America, motivated by my interest to visit big trees across the continent. I find the tremendous size and age that trees are able to obtain to be fascinating, but my interest really goes well beyond that. As a scientist, I'm interested in how the structure of a forest, in other words, the size of the trees, the logs on the ground, the understory plants, how that affects the ecological functioning of the forest in terms of providing benefits to people. In other words, ecosystem services. So for example, in a very old forest with very large trees, there's a tremendous amount of carbon stored in the trees. There's also a wide diversity of habitat niches for a number of species, which are often dependent on those specific structural requirements of an old growth forest. So after I arrived to Montreal, I was really happy to see, and quite surprised to be honest, that there's some remarkably large trees right here in Montreal. The largest I've found by far yet are these eastern cottonwoods growing in Parc La Fontaine. Just as the structure of an old growth forest affects its ecological function, the size of urban trees determine their ability to provide ecosystem services. It's found that air purification occurs at a rate 70 times faster in a tree that's about 80 centimeters trunk thickness at breast height compared to a tree that's 8 centimeters at breast height. Large trees are often an important part of community heritage. They provide habitat for urban wildlife, and they modify the urban physical environment. For example, in the winter, they're able to reduce wind speeds by up to 60% with a substantial cover of large trees, and in the summer, they can reduce summer heat by up to 5 degrees. So with the cross-section exposed like this, we can quite easily estimate the age of this tree by counting its rings. Starting at the pith, which is right here, counting the annual growth rings all the way to the outside of the bark. 2, 3, 4, 5. So, what we got? 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. 90, 100, 105 years, and because this piece appears to have been taken from about 4 meters off the ground, we could probably estimate there's another 5 years added to when it reached that. And I would speculate that this tree was probably planted the same time as the other eastern cottonwoods in the park, mainly just because it's a similar size. So that gives us an estimate that the eastern cottonwoods in Parc La Fontaine are probably about 110 years old. So the stats are convincing, but you don't need science to come and see the beauty of these trees in Parc La Fontaine.